Hello everyone and welcome back to Growing with TJ. Today we will be discussing peppers. We will talk about how to start the peppers, when to start the peppers, so that when it comes summertime, you will have a nice transplant and you'll have a great head start on the growing season. See right here I have a Jimmy Nardello Italian pepper. This is just one of the peppers I will be planting today. So when it comes to peppers, the main problem I see people have is the start time. When do you start pepper seeds? You want to start pepper seeds much earlier than you may think. A lot of people like to compare peppers and tomatoes because they are in the same nightshade family. But the issue with that is tomatoes grow very quickly and peppers tend to take a long time to start growing and get off to a good start. So for peppers, you like to start them 10 to 12 weeks before your last expected frost date. Now my last expected frost date is April 27th in zone 7A. Today is February 5th, so it is exactly 12 weeks and 1 day until the 1st of May. My target date is going to be May 1st to May 15th. That is when I would like to get my peppers out, weather depending. So I truly believe that the key to getting a healthy, nice size pepper transplant come May is to start them early. That way they have plenty of time to grow, get to a nice size before you put them outside. You know, you don't want to be putting a plant this size out into the ground. That's not ideal. These are my pepper plants from last year. This is around April 5th, so you can see they're growing really well. They got a bunch of true leaves and they still have a month to go. Peppers tend to like to produce later in the season, so by growing them inside, giving them a lot of time, and getting a bigger pepper plant, the hope is that you'll get more peppers sooner in the year. You know, for me, a lot of times peppers will want to produce late in the season, and I am starting to get to the point where I want to bring in some fall crops, and I kind of get in a little bind there. So giving them a lot of time, 12 weeks inside is perfect, and you will be able to get a lot of peppers earlier in the season. Now let's talk about the size of the container that I like to use. This is a 2-inch pot right here. For peppers and tomatoes, I almost always start them in this size pot. Now the reason is I prefer not to pot up if I don't have to. This will give them enough room to grow, and by the time I put them outside, they won't be root bound and they'll be good to go. However, you can start them in any size container. That is up to you. This 6 cell here, a smaller, if you choose something like this or this one, you most definitely are going to have to pot them up because the roots will get root bound in here and they will stunt the growth of the peppers. Now for me, if it comes May 1st and the peppers are good to go, they're ready to go outside, but the temperatures and the soil temperature is not right, I have the option of potting it up to 4-inch. This will buy me a couple more weeks if need be. I hope that it doesn't come down to this, and hope I can just transplant them out right here in this 2-inch container. But of course, you know, you have an expected last frost date, but depending on the weather, you never know. It could be later, it could be sooner. You just kind of have to keep an eye on the trends of the weather forecast and kind of go off of that. Now, one other important thing that you are going to want to know is it is a good idea to have a heat mat. Peppers like anywhere from 70 to 80 degrees to germinate. I shoot for 75 to 80, and that is going to speed up your germination and just get your peppers sprouting up a lot sooner. If you don't put a heat mat on, it could take anywhere from 14 to 21 days, and it's just going to prolong the germination period. So a heat mat is definitely a must, and at the end of the video I will show you them on the heat mat and show you what that looks like. Now, one thing with the heat mat, they will dry out your cells a lot sooner. There is an option of using a humidity dome, which would keep the soil nice and moist. Now I usually don't do that. I prefer not to use humidity dome, but that just means that I will have to, you know, keep them moist, keep them watered, and don't let them dry out too much because they do like the moist soil to germinate. All right, so now we'll get into planting the pepper seeds. I also like to do everything I'm talking about with my eggplant as well. They also are kind of slow to grow, and giving them ample time will also benefit you in the long run. So peppers and eggplant both like to have some time to get growing. So I start them about 12 weeks. You can do 10, 12 weeks. I'm planting these right now. In another week or two, I'll get another flat of peppers and eggplant going. That way I just have some, more to plan out. Also have some backup if something goes wrong with my other ones, or if I can't get them outside right, we get colder temperatures later into May, I at least have them on backup. So what I like to do with my pepper seeds is plant them about a 1/4 inch deep. The 1/4 inch, you can do a 1/2 inch. I like to do a 1/4 inch. Make a little hole. You can put 2 seeds in one hole, or like what I like to do is put 2 little holes somewhat in the center, and I'll drop in 2 seeds. You could just do 1 seed. That's up to you. I like to do 2 just in case one doesn't germinate. I know I have another one there, and you have better odds of one of them sprouting up. Okay, so I'm going to pull you in a little closer here to kind of show you how I like to plant my seeds. I always like to have some type of thing to make indents in my soil. So you use this side here, and I will simply make a little hole. Like I said, about a 1/4 inch deep. And we'll do 3 cells of the Jimmy Nardello. Okay. So get some seeds out of here. As you know, pepper seeds are fairly big, so it makes it very easy to drop them in the hole. You put them in. I'm doing 2 holes each cell with 1 pepper seed in each. So just drop them in just like that. Now I got my seeds in, and then I simply just cover them up. It's as simple as that. It is not hard. You can see I got them covered up, and right there, that is good enough. I might spray a little bit on the top with a water sprayer, but other than that, that is all you have to do for your peppers. Drop them in 1/4 inch deep, put your pepper seeds in, and cover them up. And Jimmy Nardello, just a little bit of Jimmy Nardello. That is a great frying pepper. Good tasting pepper. High yields. I really enjoy the Jimmy Nardello, and I usually plant that in my garden every single year. Now, of course, one thing you want to remember to do is to label what you planted. This happened to me many times before where I didn't label it, thinking that I would remember. When it comes down to it, I forget, and then I don't know what I planted. And I like to put things, certain plants in certain areas of the garden, so I want to know what I have before I put it out. Obviously, eventually when the peppers start producing, you're going to see which pepper it is, but just label it so you don't have to have that happen to you where you think you're going to remember and you just don't. Now, I'm going to plant one more here for you guys. This is actually a long, thick cayenne pepper, and I saved these seeds from last year. So you can also do that if you want. Let them dry out. So let's get one of these in there. I'm just going to plant one right now. I will put more in eventually. But again, 1 hole and 2 holes. So if you never saved seeds before from the previous year, it's definitely a good idea, and I'm going to try and get into that a little bit more this year. I've only done it a little bit, but it's a great way to save money. You already have the pepper plant, and you can save the seeds, and you won't have to buy them next year. So let's label that. There you go. Now I'm going to finish this out here, and then we'll take you over to the lights and the heat mat, and I'll show you what I do with that. everything planted here. You can see every cell is filled in. Real quickly before we go over to the heat mat and I'll show you how I set that, just go through what I did plant just really quickly. I got a Black Beauty eggplant. As you can see, it's a larger eggplant, 4 to 6 inches, very dark. It's a good option. Come over here, we got the Patio Baby F1. This is a mini eggplant, and they only get, a certain size. Really good. If you don't want a big eggplant because you just don't, eat eggplant like that, you just need smaller ones. This is a really good option. Very prolific, high yields. I really enjoy this eggplant. The last eggplant I got here is the Gaudy eggplant. This is a white, kind of purple streak looking eggplant. I never tried this before, but I hear good things about it, so I wanted to give it a shot. Now getting into my peppers, we already talked about the Jimmy Nardello. Good frying pepper, Italian pepper. Then we have the Red Ember F1. This is a cayenne pepper, but it's going to be a little different than this long cayenne pepper. This is going to be a little bigger. I've never tried this either, but I'm looking forward to it. I just want to kind of switch it up. I usually grow the long, thick cayenne pepper. Just want to try something different. Then lastly, what I planted is a Flaming Flare F1, and this is a Fresno pepper. And this is also my first year growing this, and I'm looking forward to seeing how they produce. Everything I'm trying new, the research I've seen, they're high yields, they grow well. So that's why I picked them, and we'll see how they treat us this year. Okay, as you can see there, I got my heat mat. This is what we call the heat mat. If you look under this one, you can see I have a heat mat with this as well. I planted these the other day, and right now I have it at 75 degrees is what it's sitting at now since I put them in there. So you simply want to put your tray on the heat mat. Make sure you're getting it covered up. All parts of the tray is on the heat mat evenly, like that. And then this right here, not all heat mats have this, but you can get a little thermostat here, and you just take this and you just simply put it into the soil, bury it in there a little bit like that, and then you can set it what temperature you want. You want to make sure that you're paying attention, depending on the heat mat. You might put it at 80 and it only sits at 70. So you want to play with it and see what it's saying. I think for this one I have actually set at about 90, but because of the temperature in here, and I do have them close to the ground, 90 degrees set at 90, it actually is sitting at 75. So I set this one at 90. They're the same heat mat, so that should keep these guys sitting around 75. Ideally, maybe I have a little higher, so I might mess with that, but as long as it's at least 75, they will germinate within 7 to 10 days. Alright guys, so there you have it. That is how I start my pepper seeds. That's when I start them, and if you follow those tips, I promise you will have a nice pepper plant to transplant out to your garden when the time comes. So I hope you found this video helpful. I hope you learned something. I hope you can use what I said and get your peppers started now or whenever is right for you in your area. Like I said, I am zone 7A, so I want them at least 12 weeks inside before I transplant them into my garden. So if you want to follow along, I'll be doing other vegetables and fruits to show you how I start them, and I will show you the progress they do, and then eventually we'll finally get out to the garden when the time is right. Thank you for watching.